Hello again everyone. I am now in some little town because I'm trying to make my way to the national park that I was talking about in the last vlog. The day's miserable, pretty fucking cold to be honest. And I took the public bus here, and then I'd read online that you could take a minibus, but I have no idea how to book that, so I'm kind of a bit lost. I walked into some random building and asked some people, and they've pointed me in like a direction, so I'm gonna walk there, try to hopefully find someone who can help me. Or it sounds like they basically just said you need to get a taxi, but I'm now way closer, so I think it's a lot cheaper. So yeah, I'll see how it goes. Should be fine though. I've found my ride. So I've been dropped off. I got dropped off outside this big building. Over, can't really see it. And my taxi driver, he was like, mini market, go in. And then I was like, okay. Went to go in the mini market. It's locked. No one's in there. So I walk into the place next to it, and the old lady's like, you know, I put it through the Translate app, and she's like, oh yeah, so she takes me up to a hotel room. I'm like, no, I want a gur. And then, so she gets like, it must be a granddaughter or something, starts taking me around to the people who run the gurs. And then again, it's just all locked up, and I'm like, right. So now I'm just walking around. I have no idea. I'm hopefully going to find a gur, but honestly, it is pretty good. Like, that's what I'm looking at right now. There's a couple, like, there's heaps of little gur camps. It's just trying to find one that has people in it. That's Turtle Rock over there. Doesn't really look like a turtle from this side. I guess it's a bit like Frog Rock. But it's shaped like a turtle. Yeah, I'll just keep walking. I don't know, hopefully find something. First one. Hopefully this is just all I need to walk up to. Otherwise I'll just have to keep walking. So I've negotiated my price. This is my accommodation for the night. It's all right. The lady, she gave me this sheet. That's apparently my sheet for the night. I was like, what about a thick blanket? And then she just said, oh, you can take them from the other beds or something like that. That's what we're dealing with at the moment. No Wi-Fi, but there's electricity, so I can charge my phone and stuff. I don't think I'll stay here 2 nights though, which is what I was originally planning on doing, because yeah, it's kind of shit, and it was like way more expensive than I thought it would be. It was like 40 New Zealand dollars a night for like subpar accommodation. But as was, it reminds me a bit of an old like an old school camp sort of place. I think they're like the like the locals must come here for summers, and now that we're in autumn, obviously no one's coming around, so all of these places are basically just empty. Like, oh, and no shower. That's the other thing. No shower. So that was another reason why I'm not staying for 2 nights, because I was like, holy shit. I didn't actually get a shower last night, so I was kind of hoping to do it tonight, and I'm gonna end up maybe almost 3 days. So I'll go for a walk now, have a look around. There you go, does look like a turtle. Camel over there. They have camel and horse riding over there, I think, but I don't know, it doesn't really look like my vibe. The camel, you can see that, looks pretty fucking depressed, and I don't really want to participate. Well, this camel looks like he's chill. This thing down here is on Google, and it's called Construction Abomination Ruining Natural Beauty. Just crack up. Looks pretty abandoned though. I think I will go down and have a look. Hopefully get a better view on top of it than I get behind it, because it is kind of obstructing the view. Yeah, it doesn't look like anything's going on around here. There's no people on site. There's a set of stairs there. These ones over here went to the top though, so go have a look at them. Here we are at the top now. It's a pretty good site actually, pretty good view. It does look abandoned. Wow. You can never tell in Asia. Like, you can never tell whether it's just like some abandoned Chinese development or it's just, but like, doesn't look like any work's been done. They've kind of covered up like a bunch of holes and stuff. The building design's real random. Like, I'm cut off, can't go to that side. It's kind of like an entirely separate building. But yeah, I wonder what they were trying to build. Stairs are not made for a strapping young man like me. They are a bit like almost hitting my head just like walking around the corner, which is weird for a hotel. It looks like this would be a hotel. So that's my urbex exploring done for the day. I don't really think I'll do much else today. Probably just go back to the Gur. I was going to go to the monastery, but the weather's kind of shit, and it's like an hour's walk away, so I don't want to walk an hour and then it start pissing down. Just like getting cold and miserable, and then it starts getting dark, and yeah, all that nonsense, and I get hypothermia and die. That's my view though. That's pretty cool. So I'd much rather get hypothermia in my nice little gear without any blankets. Yeah, I also need to find somewhere to eat. I've ended up walking to the main road because there's a restaurant apparently up here. It had a reasonable rating on Google. There's nothing really back the way I came, so. But I was looking at the building, and it really is an eyesore. Holy shit. There's a sick view. And of course, it's closed. Oh my god. Oh well. I will walk back where I came. back in the gear now, and I think I was probably being a bit harsh earlier, especially with this little fire going. It's going to be pretty good. Like, I can already feel the heat. And then she's left a couple of bags of coal for me to put on throughout the night, but I love how she's just like, just put the bag in, so you just burn the plastic, which is, I know, like, even in New Zealand, like, the plastic just gets, thrown in the tip or whatever, but it's just kind of funny. They're just like, just burn the coal and the plastic. And then I'm sorting my money out here. Honestly, they need to chuck whoever the central banker is for Mongolia into prison, because their notes are so shit. Like, their biggest note is 20,000, and most like, if you buy a meal's like between like maybe like 12 and 20,000 if you're going cheap, and then up to 40,000. And they don't have anything bigger than that. So they don't have any 50s, even though you're pretty often, like, if you buy a train ticket or something, you'll pay 50,000. And then they have this here, which is a 10 Turkic note, which is worth 0.5 of a New Zealand cent, which is essentially useless. Like, I don't even think, I don't even think like Mongolian people would care. Although, to be honest, Mongolia, like, they're sort of going the similar way to China. So, from what I can tell, and they're doing like the apps. So pretty much they just do instant bank transfers. Like, most of the shops will have like their bank account number, and then someone will just type that bank account number, transfer like the cost across, and then just show that they've done that, and that's how they pay for things. So probably the complaints about the notes is only for privileged tourists like me, and maybe like people who don't old people who don't use phones. But I don't know whether, like, I haven't seen anything for less than less than 1,000 to, like, of the currency. And they have tens, they have 50s and hundreds. I'd accept like 50s maybe, but the tens are so shit. And then they just need some 50,000 notes, because that would make life way easier too. Good morning, everyone. We're on to the next day. I'm currently walking to the monastery that I talked about the other day. It's over there. I think that's it, but I don't know. It's a bloody lovely day, to be honest. I'm glad I didn't go yesterday when it was kind of shit, because this is really nice. So I'll try to get there this morning, maybe spend a bit of time there, get some photos or whatever, have a look around, and then get back to the gear and then try and get to the statue. But we'll see how it goes. Picked up a follower. He's actually quite friendly. Now I have two. The dogs are a bit bigger here than Asia, so it's they're a bit sketchy when they start coming up to you compared to Asia, where they're just small, so it doesn't really matter. Apparently, if I read every one of these signs on the way up, I'll attain enlightenment. I've already got the hair for it, so may as well just become a Tibetan monk in Mongolia. Oh, there's some paintings up there on the rocks. It's also over there as well. It's pretty cool. It's a real nice view. It's a pretty good view. By pretty good I mean stunning, to be honest. It's really cool how it's all just turning orange in the autumn. Never really seen that at home, to be honest. Well, not like this much of a contrast. I never know whether I'm being disrespectful when I spin these. I think it's like anyone can spin them, and it's just sort of like a prayer for luck or something like that. But I don't know, I feel disrespectful somehow. Looks like a bus has arrived. That was actually one of the cooler monasteries I've been to. I guess because it's in the middle of nowhere. But right at the end there, just a bunch of people showed up. All the tour buses, as they usually do at these sorts of places. And it got me, like I've already been thinking about this for a bit, but the sort of gimmickiness of travelling sometimes, where it looks awesome, you know, and it feeds into social media a bit, but it looks awesome on your Instagram or on your YouTube, and then the reality on the ground is it's just a tourist destination. Like, you're not, it looks like I'm doing something unique, but in reality heaps of people go to this place, and when you're there, there's a lot of people there. Or if I'm staying in a ger, you know, it's insane to someone that, well, it might be insane to someone that I'm staying in a ger in Mongolia, but the reality is there's so many gers, there's lots of camps. All the gers now they're all on concrete pads. Some of them have steel frames, so it's a gimmick. Like it's not authentic, but it is simultaneously authentic. And it's a weird thing I deal with as I'm travelling, is this sort of thought of, am I travelling authentically, or am I travelling performatively, I guess. And yeah, it's a confusing sort of existential, I guess, way too deep thought to have as I'm in a very privileged way just travelling the world. But yeah, I just get it all the time, because I wanted to come to Mongolia, but I also don't want to, it feels strange that, you want to stay in a ger, okay, you have to pay this much money, and you're essentially it might be more expensive to stay in the ger than it is to even stay in like a normal hotel room, which is, so you're paying for your discomfort. So it's not authentic discomfort, it's performative. So yeah, I find it's odd, and then it ties into how I also feel about, especially visiting these sort of, I guess, we have the same thing in New Zealand as like progress versus nature and development versus nature. So even we'll come up to it soon, but you know, like they're building pods over there. I'll flip the camera when it comes into view, like big, you know, pods. So it's not, you're not staying in a ger, you're staying in a pod, but it's more comfortable. This is what I mean. Like you got a big generator, big diesel generator there. They've got some concrete cylinders. They're going to do piping, and then yeah, they've just got these big pods. They're sort of space. They're, you know, that will be your accommodation now. You'll come to Mongolia and you'll stay in a space pod, and yeah, you're in this beautiful nature, but you've also got the comforts, and you sort of have this conflict where I'm staying in a ger, but I got 5G, so I'm just sitting there doom scrolling in my ger at night instead of, I guess, having to. I still read. Like I read all the time, especially on the bus and stuff, and I actually try to avoid, I'm trying to cut down my doom scrolling, but you're is it authentic, or is it just a sign of progress? You know, is if I stay in a place and there is no signal, and it's a ger that's not on a concrete pad, doesn't have a light, am I just performing poverty or performing authenticity in my travels? It's the same with the horse riding and stuff. I've ridden horses when I was younger, but I haven't ridden them since, and it's just a weird thing to go, oh yeah, I'll go and I'll pay someone, you know, $10, and they'll lead me on a horse for 30 minutes around a track that's predetermined, and 50 other people do that every day. And it's sort of, for me personally, if I pay for that, it feels like a gimmick to me, because I'm essentially just paying for something that everyone else just pays for. And I don't know whether it lessens my experience or I'm just being snobby. And it'll be the same with the camels. So like, I'm not riding any camels here, because I kind of feel like I want to ride a camel in a desert. So at this stage, I'm probably going to wait until I'm back in China and I am near the Gobi Desert there. And I didn't go to the Gobi Desert in Mongolia because the only way to really get there is because the desert is like, it's not all, deserts aren't just sand dunes, they're also grassland, like sparse grassland and stuff like that. But to go to the dunes, it would have been a 6-day sort of tour that was several $1,000s, and I just didn't want to do that because it would have screwed up my timeline a bit, but also the idea of I have to pay so much to go out of my way to get to this place, rather than you can just show up there like a normal person. And you can do that in China, so because the Gobi Desert goes into China, so I will get to do some sand dunes, which I'm looking forward to. But it feeds into, you watch people on social media, and they're, especially like, I feel I've seen a lot of reels of people in Mongolia and in Kyrgyzstan, I guess, and they're all riding horses. And at the end of the day, yeah, it's cool. Like it is a cool thing to be riding a horse in Mongolia. but you are also paying for the experience. So it's a strange sort of existential thing I think about as I travel. The fact that I want an authentic experience, but I also want to experience the sort of mainstream things as well, and how that clashes. And yeah, it's just my sort of thoughts for the day as I walk back to my place to get my bag. Right, I've got my pack. I'm just going to go get some lunch, and then I'm walking to the main road. I'm going to try and hitchhike to the Genghis Khan statue. I've also got to Google how you're supposed to hitchhike in Mongolia, because I don't think they do thumbs, but I'll have a look. It must be a big sort of school thing. There's quite a few buses, which kind of feeds back into what I was saying before about there are just heaps of tourists. The restaurant is just full, so I'll go in and ask if I can get some food, but I might have to keep walking a bit, otherwise I'm going to be sitting there for like an hour waiting. I've made it to the main road. It's a beautiful day, so I don't mind walking for a bit, but apparently you just put out your hand and kind of wave down cars, and some of them will stop. You've got to make sure that they don't want money. So I'm hoping to get picked up soon. This is a pretty busy road because it's a touristy area, so I'll walk for a bit. Maybe I'll come across a restaurant and then I'll be able to eat some food. There he is, big man himself, Mr. Genghis Khan. I got picked up by the first car that stopped, which was a taxi driver, so it cost me a bit of money, but it was also very quick. Something they don't talk about with Mongolia is basically it doesn't have its own car production, or it's not really a big population, so obviously it's not a huge selling market for the automakers. So they have Japanese imports and Korean imports and Chinese as well. And if it's a Toyota, you're pretty much getting in, and it's right-hand drive compared to they drive on the right-hand side. So pretty much the driver's on the outside of the road, and then they just pull like right into the other lane to try and pass cars. And I was just like, I was trying to say I'd just slow down a bit, because you just kept pulling out into the middle, and then I'd be like, no, like there's a car coming. But yeah, so you're half worried you're gonna die, get into a car crash. But obviously they just do it every day. And I'd assume the drivers driving the other way just hang as far to the right as possible. But yeah, it's a real experience walking while driving, while getting driven around in this country. So I'm done with the statue. Now I'm trying to get back to Ulaanbaatar, so I'll try and hitchhike this. Or hopefully I can just get a ride to Nalak, which is the closest place where I can just get a bus back to Ulaanbaatar. But if I manage to get one to Ulaanbaatar, that would be awesome, because that would save a heap of time. was only walking for about 5 or 10 minutes, and then I got picked up by a guy and his wife and their baby, so he's actually driven me the entire way back. He's dropped me off about 5 minutes from my hostel too, so that's made life pretty easy. I think this will be the end of the vlog for this second vlog, so hopefully everyone's enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one.